conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. Survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing
Hello viewers, welcome to Let's Talk About. Let's Talk About is a program that gives us a real understanding of social issues and how it bothers us as Christians. You are welcome to this week's edition. Today we are discussing fresh, how we enjoy campus life. And joining us today are members from GAFES who are going to help us do this discussion. So today, just on my immediate left, I have Mr. Bright Abuaje Obeng, and he is the Campus Ministry Director of GAFES. Next to him is Reverend Mrs. Francisca Eshuren, okay. And she is the Vice Board Chair of GAFES. And next to her is Honorable Mr. Isaac Benson Newton, who is the National Director of GAFES. You are all welcome. I'd like to also remind viewers that we are streaming live on our social media platforms. That's Trinity United Church Legon, both on YouTube and Facebook. You can also send your comments and questions to the comment section of the social media platforms or to our WhatsApp number 050-1579-996. The WhatsApp number is 050-1579-996. Thank you. So you are all welcome to Let's Talk About.
Thank you.
Just as we had last week, we had a youth forum about what is happening on campus and some of the things that these students go through on campus. And listening to them, we'd like to know, what are the other discussions that are going on with people who deal with these students on campus, and how best are we able to enjoy campus life? So if we come today and we say we are talking about enjoying campus life, what can we say about, briefly, just giving us an intro into what is enjoying campus life all about? I think Mr. Apuaji will start.
Well, enjoying campus, it's a holistic thing. It means, of course, a student who has very much understood what the university campus is all about. So in terms of its religiosity, in terms of its economic environment, of course, the university is an academic institution. So understands why he or she is there first, and then is able to interact with the university very much to the benefit, of course, of why he or she is there, and of course, in terms of finding purpose, because after the university is a broader world. And the university campus only prepares you, and so brings that's why he says it's a whole community on its own. So bringing all the forces together in such a way that it really benefits you, and of course helps you to find purpose in such a way that is, of course, God glorifying.
Okay, so when we are talking about encompassing all these to enjoy campus life, we know that we come with different personalities, we meet different characters here and there. So if you're saying enjoying campus life, either a Christian or not being a Christian, how can we just briefly describe this? Rev?
It has to do with making the conscious effort to have a balanced life. Enjoying campus life, like Bart had said, would mean that we look at all the facets of our lives as first human beings who are Christians or non-Christian, but who are there to study. And so every aspect of your life must come into play. Enjoying your social life, enjoying your academics, enjoying relationships that you have with people, enjoying the very environment in which we find ourselves in. Some of us will go through the campus and will never visit some places. But enjoying campus life includes enjoying the forest, enjoying the lovely sceneries that we have. And we've got to make a conscious effort to, as it were, pattern our lives in such a way that day by day, every aspect of our lives is receiving, if you like, some nourishment from the environment where we are to study.
Okay. So drawing from this, we realize that a lot of students just get to school and they are totally confused right from the word go. Because probably they've been in senior high school, there's a lot of restrictions over there. Probably parents are not giving you that ability to step out and all that. And here's the case, you've just been put out there in the university. Nobody's ringing a bell. Nobody's telling you what to do. How do I enjoy campus life? Because in this case, I'm seeing it as, this is freedom. So when I'm saying enjoying campus life, do I mean I go doing everything that I want to do? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I would say with respect to someone who is on campus as a believer, I want to say so just to put in context. One way by which you can enjoy campus life, of course, as Siska said, is to be conscious of the fact that your life on campus is first as a Christian. The very moment we lose sight of that, then if care is not taken, those around you would be pulling you away from your faith. So it is crucial that as a student on campus who is a Christian, you must have that understanding that you are first on campus as a Christian. Then the other things that come, right, talk about some of them. Apart from the fact that you are there as a Christian, why are you also on campus? You are there as a student, which means you must be mindful of your studies. We have had instances where people go to campus and by virtue of whatever, they sense the call of God on their life and they feel leaving campus because they feel God is calling them into full-time ministry. But once you are on campus and you have accepted to be on campus, you must be aware of the fact that you are there also as a student. And you need to take every opportunity on campus to excel academically. But beyond these two, the campus offers a great opportunity for you that if you are outside campus, you will not get. In fact, I know instances where by virtue of holding a student ID card, you have access to different areas that the normal person on town or, the normal person working on the streets will not have that kind of access. So as a student, you need to explore all these opportunities around you and maximize them. So I think, in brief, that will be my response.
That's great to know. So it means that the Christian who is on campus needs to be cautious of their environment.
Certainly.
And you need to know how to bring out the balance in every aspect of your life. That's very good to know. I think it's something that our viewers will take home right from the word go. But here, yeah.
And of course, because of the word freedom you used, I think many young people define freedom to be freedom, freedom has limitations. I mean, in the right perspective, the definition of the word itself brings some limitation to it because the place where your freedom ends actually starts another person's own. So every time, correct definition of freedom. And so yes, you're on campus. You will not have to go for lectures because somebody is telling you to, or have to present yourself to write a quiz because the system is actually asking you to. But you are there, responsibility is attached to it. Every freedom has that huge word, responsible. You have to be responsible. You are treated as such, as a member of the university community, with a lot of respect and also with dignity, trusting that you have a sense of responsibility. If not, you have to either, of course, that's where sanctions come in with what happened in some universities. So I think that it's very important for us to define freedom very well as young people, other than that we find ourselves in all sorts of things.
Great. It's good to know because freedom can mean so many things to different people, and this can be subjective in so many ways. So as a Christian, you need to be able to define what you mean by freedom. And I'm sure that there's one key thing that I always ask. What role does the environment play in some of these things concerning students who have just come into the university? What role does it play? Rev, if you can help us with that.
So for people who have just come into the environment, and this is where maybe we come in as gaffers, as an organization or as a fellowship. People come in very green, if I may use the word that way, very confused, not too sure where to find what. And that is where sometimes the challenge comes, where people who are mischievous then connect with you and expose you to all kinds of vices. But once you're a Christian and you get into the environment, first and foremost, you must identify with your kind. So get to know what is happening within the space that is Christian. get to understand the layout with respect to church related activities. And of course, we would say that get to find gaffers. Get to find gaffers, because not only would we help you navigate the university, but we help to settle you, exposing you to what to expect, how to handle yourself through and through, and how to handle the academics as well, and your relationship with Christ. So it's important that if you get into any campus, if you are listening, if you are already on a campus and you haven't found your ground yet, begin to locate. If you are yet to enter, don't just get in and throw your hands. Ask questions and find the right kind of people who would support you on that journey that you're making.
Okay. And then talking about gaffers, what exactly does gaffers stand for?
So maybe I'll take that. So when we talk of gaffers simply is people. In fact, most of the time when we talk about gaffers, people think it's the office situated at Jolo, but that's not gaffers. That is just a building to house the staff to do our work. So gaffers is actually people, and people, we mean students, we mean associates, we mean staff. And there is the fourth arm we call friends of gaffers. These are people who may not have been through our fellowships whilst on campus, but some way, somehow, they buy into our mission and they are all for our vision. So we term those people friends of gaffers. Okay. And we are there with a commitment to reach the tertiary campus with the gospel of Christ. So that is basically what gaffers is about. If you want me to go a bit detailed, let me just use the acronym, to explain maybe a bit further. So the GHA, which is the first three letters, stands for Ghana, which means we are a national movement, and also indigenous, which means we are self-supporting, self-governing, and self-propagating. Then the letter F stands for fellowship, which simply means we are not a church, we are not a denomination on campus. We are believers from different church backgrounds with a common aim to reaching the campus for Christ. And then when you talk of the letter E, which stands for evangelical, and that simply means that we as a fellowship, we believe that salvation is only by grace alone, through faith in Christ alone. And also we believe that the Bible is the final authority in all matters of faith and conduct. So for us as gaffers, aside the Bible, we don't have any other book that we rely on. It is the Bible, nothing more, nothing less. Then the last letter is S, which stands for students. Of course, we are a ministry of students to students. So that is, in simple terms, what gaffers is all about.
So great. If I may ask, how relevant is gaffers now to the church, to the campuses, and let's say the country as a whole? How relevant is it?
Well, that's a very important question. I remember a professor in a certain university, I wouldn't mention the name, saying that, well, the churches are here, so gaffers is time to move out. That's a whole misunderstanding, misconception about what God has called us. In fact, broadly, it's a misunderstanding of parachurches. I mean, in parachurch, parachurch is not like the traditional, in quote, church system that we have, or denominations. It's a very different calling on its own. And so in terms of relevance, the fact that we are even a parachurch, it's a beginning of our relevance. I mean, God has specially called us. So gaffers will never become a traditional church or a denominational system where people will buy in. But parachurch and its uniqueness really finds us out to be able to express ourselves in ways that the second thing I will say is that the ecumenism. I mean, we bring some unity. There are so many denominations on campus. I mean, go to Legon campus and you find more than 100 who are registered. The unregistered are more than those who are registered, you know. And where do Christians find point of convergence? Unity. That if you say we are rallying around, yeah, these days they have chaplains and all that, but it's not the same. You want to have a ministry that brings all of us together. I mean, when I was on campus, I hardly got to know the church, the denominations of my friends, because when we met together, we really met as Christians, and God first brings us. The other thing is the kind of training we offer, that we become a training arm of the church. I mean, the creative evangelism. Several people have entered my office wanting training, or I remember when I was on campus as a staff, and people will come to you because they need to be trained in on the how-tos, how to draw Bible study outline, how to do that, how to do that. All those how-tos sometimes are missing in the Sunday preaching context. But a fellowship like this brings us, retools the church and helps out with the work. Of course, we are still pioneering. So campus ministry is not limited to the fact that you're a church, you brought your denomination on campus, and so you call yourself a campus ministry. No. Campus ministry is a different thing on its own. And one of our uniqueness is that, sometimes the denominations come, maybe Pentecost people look for Pensa, Gamsu people are looking for Gamsu students, but Gaffers, we don't go looking for any help. We look for everyone. And not just everyone, but we look out for everything on campus. And so the campus is a community and a culture on its own. And so we are not just reaching out to just the occupants, but we are trying to transform the culture of the university campus with the gospel. And nobody, I dare say, actually does that. GAFES is intentional about how to engage the gospel and the culture on campus with the gospel, reaching out to faculty and others. Of course, in the area of pioneering strategic Muslim ministry, a ministry that is reaching out especially to students who are Muslims, who are either Hindus or who are international students. You don't have denominations doing that. GAFES focuses on those things, even faculty and all of that. And so there's so much to talk. Recently, we have launched the GAFES Leadership Networks, where we are actually, so we are not just discipling people. Aside the fact that we are discipling people through small groups, we are also trying to disciple people to fit into the national context, so that if somebody comes out of the university, the person knows I'm entering politics well prepared. So we have the political network, we are rolling out the legal network. So we are trying to shape people. And we intentionally want to all the time bring faith and academia together. And it's something that we are conscious about. And so in terms of relevance, there's so much to say about that.
There's so much. I could see that, because it draws into the other question I have about the various dynamics on campus. I mean, the cultural dynamics, the scholarship dynamics, the residential issues that are coming up and all that. These are challenges or things that are going on, which makes the tertiary institution different. And it keeps changing. How does GAFES manage to identify some of these things, understand some of these things to help the students who are on campus? If Reverend could take that.
Maybe just to even throw a bit more light on what is happening on a campus, I mean, the nature of the campus now. I mean, we were in Kumasi's early last year. We went to have some engagement with some of our stakeholders, and we went to visit one of our associates, and he was sharing with us the fact that now the Tech, which is the K University campus, it's made up of over 85,000 students. And the fact that the halls of residence, I mean, what they call it, the traditional halls, are just about a handful. And let's assume these traditional halls can, accommodate, let's say, 10,000. The question is, where are the over 75,000 students? So that's the kind of campus we have now. Gone are the days where every student on campus was on residence. But today, because of the increase in student enrollment. Students are struggling with accommodation, so a chunk of the students are not on the campus themselves. They are living around the campus. In fact, recently, as I drive towards to work, as you go towards the Legon places, you see a lot of students actually moving towards the campus. And I'm like, hey, where are all these people coming from? Because there are no residents. There are no accommodation on campus, so they have to go live elsewhere so they could come to campus. So that's the kind of nature the campus is like. But beyond that also, you also find out that at the days where somebody comes to a campus and is already, has grown beards. Today, you can have as young as 14. In fact, I heard, was it last year or last year, somebody finished school at age 16. This person may have entered at what age? So you can just backdate, 4 years back. That's about 12 years or so. And that's the kind of system we have now. People enter school at a much younger age. But beyond that, you also find out that gone are the days where I was told, of course, the elderly would tell us when they were there, their weekends actually started on Thursday. Today, it is not like that. The average time of the student is increasingly declining. They don't have time because almost every day they must either go for a lecture or go and write an IA or some of a sort. So that's the kind of system that we find on our campus, now. And of course, I don't want to go to the other aspect of there are no facilities and a whole lot of things. So that's the kind of system that we find now.
Okay. On the campus. And I think that as we are talking about all the challenges that these students are going through, another probably big challenge that they go through are the kind of relationships that are built.
Certainly.
So what social media is also doing to these students, the time management and all that. How does, I'm sure we'll talk more about the programs that GAFES brings into, but how do you identify and decide on what kind of programs do you offer for these students? How do you do some sort of research or something to identify these? Because everybody could talk about them, but you need to put a point somewhere and say, this is what we are doing this time around. Rev, is there something that you can tell us concerning how you identify these specific challenges?
I will throw that to the campus ministry director to answer that.
well, yes, there is both informal and formal.
Okay.
You have to. Where we work is an academic institution, and so if you want to be a campus ministry that is worth its salt taken seriously, then of course you have to really behave as you're also an academic. So you have to throw your net wide, be able to ask questions, whether formally or informally. And there are a couple of times that as staff we come together, and so we have to send a link out. Students have to fill and get to know, okay, so this is where the evidence leads. And so we have to now build strategies and things in order to meet them. I remember trying to look at the time of students and how students can engage with scripture, a whole program on scripture engagement. We have to do this so that we'll be able to offer to our students something that is challenging, but at the same time not breaking. We don't get to that breaking point that at the end they are not able to do those things. So it's important for you to all the time look at your context and be able to look at the people that you are serving, how to serve them, which programs will fit, which ones are dead and gone, and so you have to leave them, no matter how much you love them and all of that. So I think we do quite. And
maybe just to add to what Bright said, beyond the students, we have all kinds of stakeholders on campus. Some of them are senior members on campus. Some of them are patrons of the fellowships, who serve as very key contacts to be able to engage them, to know beyond what the students will share with us, what's from their perspective, what are they thinking, so that it will go a long way to actually help us to work on a tailor-made solution for whatever the issues are. I remember last 2 years we actually began our 5-year plan. And in one of the workshops, we have to bring some of the lecturers to come to share with us from their perspective what are the issues. So yes, we have all these
ways of identifying.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. And just as we said right from the beginning, we said fresh, enjoying campus life. If you say fresh, it's like somebody who has just come to campus fresh, and you know how they do get all their fresh ideas once they enter campus and all that. What exactly is fresh? What does fresh stand for?
Well, in GAFES, when you come, you may be bombarded with all kinds of acronyms. So fresh is one of the things that we do. So just as I think we talked earlier on about designing a tailor-made, a program for the students. So we found out that those who come to campus, as fresh students, we need to design something that will help them fit well into the campus setting. Just as we have discussed, the campus is totally different from life, outside campus. So we then brought about this program. So first, simply, it's an acronym which, of course, the F stands for faith. So what we do is to help freshers to get the understanding of the fact that, yes, you're on campus, but like I said, you must be mindful of your belief in Christ. And if care is not taken, by the time you are done 4 years, you may have entered as a Christian, but you may be exiting as something else. So that is on the F. So the F stands for faith. Okay. Then the R stands for relationship. Relationship not just with a boy, a boy girlfriend, but the campus is so big such that if students would take advantage of the systems and the environment, and not just students, but other people living on campus, they could have all kinds of networks and connections. I remember I left school 2007, but you won't believe it, I still have contact of lecturers who taught me. These are the kind of things that we are talking about. What kind of relationship can students who have just come take advantage of who are on campus? Then the other letter, which is the E, stands for evangelism. Evangelism in the sense that we hope that once you have come as a student and as a Christian, how do you make your faith also known to other students on campus? Today you are a fresher, but tomorrow you may be in level 200. How do you also turn back and help your roommates, your course mates, who may be of a different faith, to try and also propagate and share the gospel to this person? So that is it. And then the S, which is also one of the key things that we also emphasize. How do you succeed as a student academically? That is your studies. Because we don't want to produce Christians who are only heavily minded, but in terms of their studies, they are really struggling and suffering. So how do we help you to fit into the campus life and excel with your studies? Then, of course, the last is the H, which stands for holiness. How do you ensure that if you entered the campus as a virgin, you exit as a virgin? So we are mindful of how you live your life on campus, because the campus life, can be quite tricky. And if care is not taken, by the time you are actually exiting, a whole number of things may have happened to you. So in brief, that is, the first. Maybe right, we want to add a few things.
Probably the question was thrown to him because he's the campus director and he's dealing directly with them. Yeah.
That's basically to help people to be very much integrated into the university culture. It's a big community, so integration and orientation must go on. And so once you come, we help you. These are the options on campus. Belief systems. These are the things that you can take advantage of. Then how then do you place yourself in such a big community, for you to live in a way that is God glorifying? But of course, it also helps us to confront non-Christians Christian students
Yeah.
with the gospel, especially when it comes to faith. So the gospel is true, and so how do we reach out to you? And all of that. So basically, this is
I think fresh really sounds refreshing and it's very interesting to have this. But we'll talk more about what exactly we are to do and how you are able to identify these students and how easily is it for them to even accept GAFES as a whole. So just as we are talking about fresh, enjoying campus life, we hope that everybody takes 1 or 2 lessons from whatever is being introduced here. And my name is Annie Owuswa Nkulenu, and we'll continue to talk about fresh, enjoying campus life.
With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians.
So thank you very much for watching Let's Talk About, and we thank our honorable panel giving us this insightful information about how best to enjoy campus life and talking about what exactly fresh means. And if nothing at all, you need to understand that there is a place on campus and there's something that you can always connect to on campus. So we'd like to remind our viewers we are streaming live on our social media platforms, Trinity United Church Legon, both YouTube and Facebook. You can send your comments and questions to the comment section of the social media platforms or WhatsApp number 05015799996. The WhatsApp number is 05015799996. So, just as we're talking about before we went on break, we talked about fresh. And then the question is, how are you able to identify these students? Because these are people coming from different denominations, different walks of life, different cultures. How are you able to put them together, that unity, and still maintain that interdenominational abilities? Because you have challenging moments. You have people coming in with all sorts of ideas. How are you able to balance this in relation to fresh?
Well, so students come to campus, and thankfully there are student leaders, or Christian leaders we've trained and we've equipped in charge of the fellowships, the CAFES fellowships. And what happens is that some of them come early enough to welcome the fresh students and reach out to them. And so, of course, when you come to level 100, in most university campuses, they have the policy of the in, out, either in. At least the first one is one, out is an in. So students have permanent residential areas. Not all though, but at least quite a number. And so the students, Christian leaders are able to go to the halls and reach out to them and invite them. Of course, a lot of planning needs to go into choosing the week where students will not be much busy in order to be able to help them get through that. And so these are some of the ways, the halls, but also sometimes they partner some denominations on campus. And so to get the fresh student, the whole idea is to get the fresh students, but we don't stop at the denominational level, because other than that, you won't get students who don't find their denominations on campus. You don't get them, and you won't get those who don't even identify with churches, and you get those who are non-Christians who don't mind, don't care about the gospel. And so it's a hard work to go everywhere, sometimes with flyers, with leaflets, trying to introduce yourself, knocking on doors, and there are times that actually we rely on our associates. So associates have worked on campus, and many times, or recently actually, we sent out communicate helping, so that if you have your ward entering the university, you help us know, and then we reach out to that person individually. And so these are some of the ways we use to at least fish out the first students in order to be able to impact them very much.
Okay, and then just as you said that you have people trained on the ground for them to welcome these people in, I'm sure one of the key aspects of Fresh is evangelism. And therefore you have various missionary opportunities that come to them. How do you inculcate this into the students?
Well, you're talking about the student, types of student leaders trained, or just the first students who are coming?
Definitely the student leader gets the person, but then the one who is also fresh and is also taking into the fresh course may also have a part to play. Yes. So how do you manage these opportunities? How do you manage them?
We talked about the problems on campus. But I think what you have just hit on highlight the missional opportunities on campus. There are several of them. We are now seeing an increase in international students, and many don't realize how important international students are. You know, many of them are coming from contexts that are not Christian. They are coming from families that do not believe in Christ. And so if they come to encounter the gospel here, they actually go out to their countries and their families, taking back the gospel with them. And so the student who is a student leader reaching out to such a person is actually equipped in such a way that he or she knows that international students are important. And so handling them, you need a different approach than the normal Ghanaian student. And of course, the international student we are reaching out to, when you come on board, of course, we let you know, we take you through to help you do that. We are actually going deeper as far as international student ministry is concerned. But not just that. I talked about Muslims earlier. And it's the same kind of principle, knowing that these are Muslims, these are people from different belief systems. So you would have to attach great amount of caution in dealing with them and helping them, because if one of them even becomes a Christian, that is like a dynamite, and so it goes a long way. The other way that the other opportunity, which of course helps us to facilitate the whole fresh thing, is small groups. Now students have been exposed to the mass evangelism mass gathering.
Yeah.
But we are inculcating our students and those small groups are key. If students are, meet in small groups, they feel, they have a sense of belonging. And that is why actually students go in. Research shows that people go better in small groups. And so we put this and we invite the fresh students also to join the CAFE small group, discipleship group, which of course we are so much putting emphasis on. And so these are some of the, of course, the non-Christians who come on campus. There are so many. There are so many.
Yeah.
And with the student Christian leader who is reaching out, he knows where to go to. And so, just like you mentioned, evangelism is so key to us. So, part of the things we do, we are sharing flyers. We are doing what you call creative evangelism. And so, it looks like you are playing, but you are actually setting up a platform for students to express naturally their questions. And so we engage in apologetics, where you set up some kind of snacks bar, and the students come with their for drinks, but then have the liberty to share the questions. Their questions, you answer them.
Great. So just as we were talking about having a snack bar, well, viewers, there's a slight technical hitch, but we would be back in just a jiffy. So just keep on enjoying our presence, and we'll give you more about Fresh and enjoying campus life.
With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life, both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians.
So welcome back, viewers. We apologize for the break in transmission. We'll continue to talk about Fresh, enjoying campus life. And just as we did before the break, our Honorable Mr. Obing was telling us about the missional opportunities that are there that GAFES offers. So probably you can also tell us more.
Yeah, I think Annie is turning all of us into politicians this evening. But, well, so yes, Annie, I was talking about the fact that there are quite a number of mission opportunities on campus, increase international students, increase on rich poor groups. People from that background come to university campus, example, the Muslims that I mentioned. I talked about the opportunity to meet in small groups because research shows that students go better in small groups. and the fact that there's so many non-Christian who are actually coming to campus. And if you get any of these people that I've mentioned, I mean, it's so powerful for, I mean, not just on campus life, but outside campus life. The impact on the gospel, the impact on Christianity and everything is enormous. And so it becomes important, of course, for the student who is going to welcome a fresh student in either of these categories, you know, to be very much well equipped. And so they are equipped, they are trained. And I was talking about how sometimes some of them go out with leaflets, they go out with some evangelism tools, and the opportunity to set up a snack bar to help students come and ask their questions so that they'll be able to get response. Are various ways we use to actually reach out to those students coming on campus. And of course, when you come, I mean, as a fresh student, I mean, you are phased out like that within any of these contexts. You are also equipped to also do same, you know, and that's where the E part of the fresh is so critical.
Okay. So talking about getting these students into smaller groups and all that, do you think that as even parents, there's a role to play even before the students comes to campus? Because if the parent is aware of what FRESH stands for and what GAFES does, what do you think the parent is supposed to do? If I throw that, as for that, I'm giving it to Rev. I'm giving it to Rev.
Well, I think that parents have the responsibility of guiding and advising their children or their wards where to go, where to look out for what when they come onto the campuses. And I remember when my girl was coming to Legon, I actually accompanied her to LIC the very first Sunday.
Wow.
Just to get her to integrate into that environment, because it's a place that I knew that she would receive nurturing and she would be mentored, be discipled, so that whatever we have done at home prior to she getting to uni, whatever we've done in church, we assure that it will be continued. And of course, apart from exposing her to Sunday, I also told her GAFES is a place to be. And she just connected, served as an executive, and, you know, so we have a part to play as parents. The challenge is if the parent does not know what exists.
Exactly.
But for those of us who have gone through GAFES over the years, we have the responsibility of passing on to our sons and our daughters that rich values that GAFES would expose our children to when they are not under our roofs.
So just as Rev said, it really spells out the fact that parents have a big role to play, because if these students are nurtured right from the word go, and even what Rev did to bring the child to campus, show you where to go and serve as a guide for you, I think that it's something that we need to continue to tell parents. Is GAFES thinking of something to do for parents, even to educate them so that they know GAFES exists? There's a program called FRESH. Is there anything like that?
So let me pick that. Besides our engagement on the student front, we also have what we call the associates or associates and friends. So everyone who has gone through any of the GAFES Institute, any of the campuses and was a member of GAFES, once you're out, you qualify as an associate. Okay. And we do have associate fellowships. Okay, and sometimes some of us end up coming back to the campuses to serve as mentors and as resource persons that they are exposed to. And within those environments where we gather as associate, there's the opportunity also for us to remind ourselves what we are supposed to give back to the ministry. And so in terms of talking about, parents in general, not presently, but at least for those of us who identify with the ministry, either as associates or friends, we do encourage that once you get onto the campus, fine. And I think Bright talked about that. This academic year, messages were sent out on the various associate and GAFET platforms to say that if your word is going somewhere, any of the campuses, let us know. And one of my nephews was going to tech. I had to hand him over to 2 lecturers.
Okay.
So these opportunities, they are just to help us make sure that they find themselves in safe environments, so that they can continue and grow and be nurtured in the spaces where we have started. They don't go to campus and lose their faith and come back and start afresh. But it's an opportunity for them to build because there are great resources that exist within the GAFES programs to ensure that our children become Christ-like whilst they're on campus.
That's great. As we continue to discuss Fresh, enjoying campus life, we have a comment from our own Reverend Dr. Martin Obeng. It says, good discussion. I'm grateful to GAFES. Joining it as a freshman helped me to manage my life and be holistically formed. I recommend GAFES to all on campus. They will never regret it. Kudos. So somebody is giving a testimony about what GAFES has done. And I'm sure he's equally going to pass it from generation to generation as to what exactly GAFES is supposed to do. And then we have a question from Mr. George Chumesi Edu. He says, good to see you, Reverend Mrs. Eshin. I have a question for the campus director. Do we have GAFES in all tertiary institutions? If not, what are the prerequisites? Some of us have found it helpful. So probably that's, we are training to the honorable.
Yes.
Do we have it in all tertiary institutions?
Well, sadly, no. There are a number of tertiary institutions. Currently, we are a few. We have just about 52 local campus fellowships across board, but at least in all the traditional universities, and I talk about Legon, UCC, and Tech, and I mean we are there. Okay. We are as well in the technical universities. We are now also making strides to go in. So last year, for example, we are Ghana School of Law, and all those places we are trying to make inroads. So we are growing. We hope that we'll be able to get there. To talk about the prerequisites, well, when we find an institution that really wants to be part of GAFES, of course, we try as much as possible to get in there, contact the chaplaincy, and then introduce ourselves. There are lots of denominations on campus, of course, introduce ourselves to those denominations. And of course, we begin now to introduce our program. But we reach out. Sometimes we do general evangelism, and we, by that, bring some students, if they are already Christian, bring them together to start. They become kind of a dashboard, so that we can reach out to the entire campus. Of course, we bring them to our Students' National Executive Congress, where they are observers, and then they are well affiliated. They have to have a constitution. They would need to have a patron, okay, and all those little things in place, just to make sure that they are also being guided by the university policies. Because we don't want to have fellowships reaching out to the university which are not abiding by the laws and the rules on campus. So all these things, and then of course the council actually accepts you. Once these things are in place, the council gives affirmation that of course you could join. And it's not a difficult system. You actually worked alongside to make sure this is done. Okay. So any authority, if you are in position of power in the university campus and you believe that, well, you want such an organization, GAFES, to come, please call on us. Just call on my office and we will just start the process.
So before we come to how they'll call you and get in touch with you, because he said call my office. So how they'll get in touch. How easy is it for various tertiary institutions to accept gaffers? How easy has it been?
That's a very good question. In some places it's been quite easy, but averagely it's been okay. Some of course, and you don't blame them much. They are very conscious about what they want. I mean, the organization that they want to expose students on campus to, because some have done and it has not gone well. But by and large, I think because of the progress that Gaffers has made across board, at least you go to an office and somebody say, oh, Gaffers. Recently, I was talking to, I didn't even know she was an associate. We're dealing with her as part of our university missions. And she said, well, I'm an associate. I know Gaffers. And she asked whether Gaffers was in one university. That's where she's working. And so I said, oh, please tell the staff to come. I'm here. And so you find people like that who are ready to introduce Gaffers. And so it's not too, it's not too easy. We won't say it's too easy that it's just not, but also it's also not too difficult. We face, I know of a particular institution that up till now, we are still trying to, and it's been close to 2 years. Okay. But we're still interested because we think that is a very important thing for us to do. Okay. And so, yes.
And I think that whilst we talk about the Gaffers and then Fresh initiative and all that, we need to know how best everybody can support in making this a success. So keep thinking about that whilst I read a comment from Sister Vida Kwapon Ekufu. It says, I benefited a lot from Gaffers as a university student. The spiritual nature as well as the various relationships I built have played and still play a significant role in my life up to date. I thank God for all those. So these are typical people who have really experienced this kind of relationship and the kind of things you've built as Gaffers. And probably around that time, I don't know whether you had Fresh, but then they still recall they still recall what exactly they went through. And probably another comment that comes in by is it Portica Dollar? He says, my first time of hearing about Gaffers.
Yeah. It's very possible.
Yeah. We have somebody who is buying into the whole idea. So it says that this is the first time they are hearing about Gaffers. So it means that there are lots of people out there who still do not know about Gaffers. How are we going to work as Christians as much as possible to propagate the issue that come with Gaffers? What exactly Gaffers stands for? What are some of the initiatives for the future that we are looking at?
Well, maybe just to say that we would call on those who have gone through Gaffers, who obviously serve as our first ambassadors, to continue to sell the good news of their experience with Gaffers and to encourage others to come on board, either as students or either as associates or friends of Gaffers. And then also we would want to encourage that, of course, if you may have heard of Gaffers and you have within your circles of friends, you have persons that you think that if they can get to know of this great ministry, why not? You'll be glad, if you can broadcast that news to them. But thankfully now, information is all over. We have our websites that people can just go there and read a whole lot of who we are and what we do. And so that is also something that people can take advantage of. You can be sure if you have a pastor, maybe just go to him. You can be certain that if in Ghana you pick 10 pastors, you can be very certain that maybe 8 or 9 of them may have experienced Gaffers. And so Possibly, if you are in a church, just go to your pastor and ask him, do you know of gaffers? And I won't be surprised that your pastor may have been an executive of gaffers if he was on campus. So these are some of the ways that people may want to use to at least get to know a bit
about
of gaffers.
Yes. Okay. So there's another question by Vida Kwapo Ekufu. It says, what relationship, if any, do you have with other non-church-based organizations on campus? Example, navigators. And how do you ensure you are collaborating and not duplicating efforts? Because definitely there are other groups such as that. And how best do we make sure that we don't have too many things clouding these students?
Yeah, I think we know, I mean, navigators, Great Commission, Scripture Union, of course, they are not on the university campus, but we collaborate with them as a non-church organization. We have the Campus Crusade, of course, they work within child evangelism and all those. Navigator, for example, we are actually partnering them as far as discipleship is concerned to use their material. Just that how we approach the university campus sometimes is different. One thing as a ministry, we are conscious about is being student-led. So we are a student-led movement. Some of these organizations are kind of staff-led. And so the staff goes on campus and reaches out to the student. That's most of the work. Him or herself is working alongside the students up to fourth year. Of course, the student has the opportunity to also bring others, but they don't have fellowships on campus. We have a fellowship. We have student leaders. We are making them lead. And so we train them and they lead those initiatives on campus. And so we realize that they are quite enough where we know that, we can use a certain documents produced by navigators, produced by Great Commission. Okay. We don't, reinvent the wheel and get a whole, go through the trouble of now. No. We just speak to them, bring it on board, and then we do it. So there's a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of talking among ourselves to make sure that we don't duplicate many of the things. Of course, we also have new programs. So when you take navigators, for example, they are a discipleship. Heavy on discipleship, basically begin to the end. Okay. But when you take Great Commission, it is purely evangelism. But we go beyond some of these things and add the student leadership and other things. And of course, I know that Great Commission also has other things, but you're talking about how we approach it. We realize that it is quite different to make sure that we are all the time known. Of course, when you talk about Scripture Union, we connect with them so that students who are moving from SHS, and we are still talking about how we can even make it sharper, because it's not as sharp as we want. Students naturally move from SHS and then find themselves into our ministry. Yes.
So another key question I have for you is that how would you want our audience to support the Fresh initiative? How would you want our audience to support the Fresh initiative? We have a comment from Portica Dollar. And Portica is saying that Mrs. Annie kindly introduce gaffers to students of Knappsford University because we need it. Okay, Portica, I have understood that. I really understand that, and I'll make sure that we get gaffers to connect to the university. Thank you very much. So just as I asked, how do you want our audience to support the Fresh initiative? Right. How do you want them to support?
Right. Well, in terms of support, of course, God is already at work on their campuses, but He still invites us to support in diverse ways. And one key area of support that we would call on our audience to help with Fresh has to do with prayer. I think we have said a lot about the campus life and some of the difficulties that our students would have to go through. And prayer is one essential, thing that would go a long way to really help our students to best fit the campus, setting. So we'd like to ask that, of course, let's not only be praying for ourselves, our families, our children, but let's remember the students, the countless of students who are on our campuses on a daily basis. Some of them go and they get themselves into all kinds of issues, all kinds of vices on the campus. But with prayer, hopefully some of them would be able to escape. But beyond prayer, we also are calling on our audience to, if possible, provide financial support. Of course, we wish that you go to, as first years come to campus and they are asked to go to their rooms, once they enter, on every bed there will be a Bible. How beautiful it will be that people go to Legon campus fresh, and as they are welcome into their rooms, they go on their beds, every single bed has a Bible. So this is something that, of course, if you may want to buy maybe 10 Bibles, 100 Bibles, 1,000 Bibles, we'll gladly appreciate that so that we can send it out to these students. But beyond that, of course, during Fresh, we have all kinds of people come and speak. So if you have some expertise in certain specific area that you think could be helpful as a speaker, why not? We'll be glad to have you on one of the campuses to share your knowledge, to share your skills to these faces. And in fact, in most cases, we have actually used Christian lecturers just to come and engage their own students. So if you are a lecturer on a campus, if you are a staff of the campus, even if you're not a staff of the university, but you have some knowledge that you think will be so useful to the students, let us know. We'll fix you and then ask you to go and speak on one of the programs at Fresh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's great to know. So it even draws into my next question about how somebody can partner gaffers and then on the Fresh program as well. So you getting involved, getting in touch with gaffers and all that. There's a comment from Francis Katuba. It says, really good conversation. So there are people who are buying into the whole issue of gaffers and Fresh, because we all understand the kind of challenges that are going on in our various universities and tertiary institutions, and how best we can also get involved with this. So how do we contact gaffers? Just as you said you can come to my office and then get all the details you want, and then we bring you the documents, and then you where exactly can we locate gaffers? If I enter any tertiary institution, where do I find gaffers?
Well, so in terms of, of course, first you have to, maybe you have to work through the office to help you locate exactly where on campus. Of course, when you go to the website, you would obviously find some information good enough to help you know, okay, we have gaffers in this region or this campus. But I think it's best if you also, it's easier, you can also go through the office. And so, you can contact us. Our office is located in Jolu. Address is all the time a challenge, but the Gaffers House, if you go, just get the Google map Gaffers House, you will easily get to our office, and then you'll be able to talk to any staff there. Of course, if you are looking at that, you can call also this number 054 207 4218 054 207 4218, which is the Gaffers line. And just let's talk. You can just tell them you are looking for either the Office of the Campus Ministry Director. And
can we get concluding? Yeah.
Just to add to that, so you can also write to us by mail. You send to info@gaffers.org. Info@gaffers.org, and we would surely respond. In terms of the website, you can look for www.gaffers.org.
Okay,
yes.
So we would like to thank you very much. We thank our viewers for listening to Let's Talk About today. It's been a very interesting discussion. We thank our guest for also giving us the insight into gaffers and also Fresh. And we say a big thank you to all our viewers. We are grateful for getting all the time to join us as well. And you must always remember, faith, relationship, evangelism, succeed in studies, and holiness is key to take part in Fresh. Thank you very much for listening to Let's Talk About, and I hope everybody picks something and tries to evangelize to everyone out there. Thank you very much.
With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon.